Well, hello and welcome to the DCUK podcast. This is season 6 and it is episode 14. And as always, I'm your host, James Graham. Alongside me, making his triumphant return, just over here, it's Angus. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's been, I think, I want to say like a month or two.
Yeah,
The last
not
one we
too
did,
long.
I knew it was when I had recently moved into this place. So
Yeah.
like the desk situation was crazy. It still is crazy. Nothing's changed, but I do feel more settled here. So we're all good there.
Yes, so that was going to be my question. Do you feel more settled? Are you finding any new creaks, any quirks in your apartment yet?
I mean, what I like about this one is it's a ground level unit, so we have our own front door, which is just what my dog is looking at right back over here. So it's kind of nice to be able to have the two entrances kind of deal. What really sucks is I ride my bike,
Yep.
and the bike storage is in the garage, and we only have one garage opener because we only have one car between my fiance and me.
Yep.
So it's like whenever I ride my bike, I have to like lug it through the whole building to like get it into the garage. When I can like look through the garage and see exactly where I put it.
Yeah,
it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is.
Yeah, what can you do about it? No. Well, it is going to be a bit of a weird episode. I think we're going to be talking about the season as a whole.
Yeah.
We've had some highlights, we've had some lowlights, we've got some discussion topics. I asked the fans out there about their opinions, so we're going to go through those as well.
And there's new news today. It's even better. Like, yeah.
What the hell's going on? We got the potential of the MLS calendar changing as well.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I got my thoughts on that.
I'm feeling a bit.
Yeah.
I like it, but then again, I don't like it.
Part of me wants to love it, but part of me wants to like keep it the way it is because the problem I have with soccer in the States is that it started off as a US sport. We're going to do soccer. We're not going to play football, European football, right? We're going to do soccer. And I think every year we stray further and further from that idea. And like conforming to the European schedule would be great. It probably is the best opportunity for player safety, for all of that. I feel like we're losing some of the things that made MLS what it was originally. Yeah. And for better or for worse, I like my summer soccer, you know.
Yeah, I love it because you've got the European leagues and they finish generally in May, but then MLS continues. So you've got full 12 months of football.
It would be cool if we could do two other things. I think there are two better options than the full on we're going to do what England does, because that also seems to be what MLS loves to do. They're like, we're going to do exactly what the United Kingdom does. England is the way we go. And I'm like, is it, I want us to follow either what the Scandinavian leagues follow, where you've got like what Matty Peltola was a free agent in January because the league is over by then. But like it starts weirdly and stuff, or we just do what Liga MX does, where we do the Apertura Clausura, where like there's 2 seasons in a calendar year with 2 different tables, and then we could base playoffs off of the results in both seasons or something like that.
There is a much simpler solution.
Just keep it the way it is.
Keep it the way it is, and get rid of the Leagues Cup.
I mean, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. If that gets it done, that gets it done.
Player safety at the end of the day. They've just run in an extra tournament. Yes, they've decided to not allow. Well, I do something weird with the US Open Cup, but you know, the Leagues Cup don't want it. Nobody asked for it. Fans.
No, I think there's a way to alter that. I think that would make it a lot cooler if it was more of like a secondary, like Europe, like continental competition, because it is a continental competition. Oh, I have no clue what my dog's seeing outside right now. But go for it, buddy. I really would like to see. Hey, bud, come here. Satch, come here. All right, I'd like to see like, the teams that don't get into CCL but make the playoffs get into Leagues Cup.
Yep.
And then that matches up with the teams that do well in Liga MX that don't get into CCL.
Yeah.
And then you can include Canadian Premier League teams in there, toss in some Central American leagues, and really like flush that competition out. And then it runs with the season.
Yeah.
So it doesn't add anything or take anything away. And then you could and then the US Open Cup comes back in full force at that point. And that's how I would do it. You still get you could still host it in the US. I don't really care how you do it.
Yeah.
But like for what it gives you and like the birth to the CCL and the money and stuff, I think it should be a continental competition in truly, not just two countries. I guess three if you include the Canadian MLS teams.
Yeah.
And
totally agree with that. Then for those over here in Europe, that then becomes what we know as the Europa League.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd be game for that. I think that would be a better solution, and I think everyone becomes a winner there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone becomes a winner. Cool. Well, that was a nice little start to the episode. But you know what? Well, should we look at the season highlights? And we did have a good, and I don't know where my cursor's gone off my screen. There we go. Stupid iPad. Put together a little montage of Benteke's goals from throughout the season. So that is quite possibly the biggest highlight of 2024 for DC United.
100%.
Let's go and watch that.
Benteke! The referee says, goal!
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, ain't trying to link no time to waste. For the record.
He's looking for Benteke, who got it!
For the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake nuts in the ball and eggs. I'm flipping the bars, I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they got it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them Chuck the Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want the act, not the ghost.
Now
That was an awesome edit.
I'm pretty proud of that. Did that today.
Nice.
Yeah.
23 league goals in that. That's pretty crazy.
It's not the first time we've had someone recently break that 20 goal barrier. We had Ola Kamara not so long ago.
He had 19. He's the first. Christian Benteke
was it?
Christian Benteke is the DC United's first 20 goal scorer since Luciano Emilio in 2007.
Did Kamara get some cup goals then? That's why I'm thinking 20 plus.
Possibly. He possibly got an Open Cup goal in there. But in terms of league,
yeah.
Also, just if you include the non-competition goals, Benteke's 2 League Cup goals makes him DC United's single season record holder for all competition goals with 25. Which is a record that has stood since year one. That's a Raul Diaz Arce record that he broke in 96. So
it was a great year. And I don't know how we just didn't make the playoffs, but we're still looking at the highlights. So favorite goal of Benteke's from this year, do you reckon?
Well, I mean,
or favorite game?
I think so I'll say this. My favorite goal is, it's weird to say it was on day one and he didn't top it at all. When he just went up against New England's keeper and just like effectively dunked on him.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, all right, cool. He's here to play this year. And that's all I needed. That was the reassurance I needed. But I think that goal against Minnesota, where he like dribbled through it, it was funny because he was like rolling back the clock. Like, old man still got the wheels. And what that meant for the game itself, because we came back and, we scored to tie it right before the 90th minute, scored in stoppage time to win it. Like, it wouldn't have happened without that kind of a goal. So it's really great to see him. to step into the captaincy this year with the retirement of Birnbaum and all that,
Yeah.
and like lead this team to a historic year for him personally.
Yeah, because I think that's his highest goal tally for a single season as well. So he's breaking his own record. He's breaking DC records. He's just doing great, and it was a fantastic season from him. But for me, my favorite game from him was against Atlanta United, the hat trick of
The
headers.
hat trick against Atlanta, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
especially when it's against Brad Guzan. I absolutely detest it.
I can understand why you would hate him as a Middlesbrough fan. That tracks. That tracks.
Yeah, I solely blame him for our relegation that season. Not the fact that we didn't
I-
score any goals whatsoever, but
Well, sometimes you've got to put it on the guy who's like leading from the back. Like
yeah, yes, he was awful, and yeah, I don't know how he's still in a decent team like Atlanta. I said decent team. They've had their struggles this year as well.
yeah.
But yeah, so Benteke had a great season overall, and he is in the running for MVP as well.
He is. He got officially a finalist today.
Yes,
Would be the
we all know
first
where that's
DC
going though.
It would be the first DC United MVP should he win since I believe Dwayne De Rosario, and I want to say like 2011, which was
Yeah.
also the first time that DC United had a Golden Boot leader and failed to make the playoffs, and that would be De Rosario in 11, and technically Ola Kamara in 2021 because he tied
You
for the
did.
Golden Boot. Oh, I have my own opinions on that. That's a tangent we don't need to get into, especially on Ola Kamara's behalf. But yeah.
Yes, I mean he just what a season! What a season!
Great season from him.
Yeah. Otherwise, highlights for me from players this year: Gabriel Pirani.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed watching him. He had a slow start.
I think that was because we didn't know how to use him, or he didn't really know how to be successful in this group.
Yeah.
Right. I think the low light that we all draw to is him not pressing Busquets and us losing 1-0 to Miami after quite literally handing Messi like his worst performance in MLS to date. The Steve Birnbaum legacy game where he pocketed Lionel Messi and then said, "Okay, I've got it, guys. That's it. That's a career for me.
That's it.
Will
And
never be forgotten."
end on a high, but Pirani for me, that's second half of the season. It was a joy to watch him play.
Yeah.
Had just a confidence, and there just seemed like a light bulb moment had happened, and that was it.
Well, you get like I think he got some reassurance. Like I don't know. I think he picked up a knock here and there, but then I'm sure, and this is where Troy is such a good man manager. The culture that he's built this year has been incredible to see, and I'm sure that there was some like chat amongst like the people who were there and saying, "Hey man, we got some really cool stuff from you earlier. We want to see that again. Just be yourself out there." And then he started taking on players and he started dribbling. And I don't think he had a single assist this year, or maybe he had one, but 7 goals is, that's a great full first season mark for him.
Yeah.
At 23.
He's, I mean, I'm just loading up the stats. If I filter that down to DC, and Mr. Pirani, 6 goals, 2 assists, apparently.
Maybe he had. Oh, is that Major League Soccer website?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So whether that's
so
true
secondary
assists.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Because he also might have had a goal that I'm thinking about in like Leagues Cup 2. Yeah, 6 goals, 1 true assist.
Yeah.
1 true assist.
Yeah. That's better. Just like I said, he was fantastic. Then in terms of other players, who surprised you most this season?
Surprised me most. So the problem with the team this year, I mean, I say surprise. So the connotation here is like the surprise is in a good way.
Yeah.
So I'll give one good, I'll give one bad, because that's kind of how the year went, right? We took one step forward, two
Yes.
steps back. It seemed like we did that all year long. One step forward, my good surprise, other than Gabriel Pirani, would be just how Matty Peltola grew throughout the year, right? We all knew he could be really good, and then he got really good by the end of the year. And I didn't expect him to mesh with the club so quickly. And so him being in there was great. My bad surprise is Ted. Ted Kude Pietro. I mean, he took a step back this year, and it's okay. We rewarded him for his previous work with a U22 deal. He's on a hefty pay increase now, which isn't a problem because only some of it hits the cap, so it's really not that big of a deal. And immediately off of that, he recorded like 3 assists in like 4 games. So, he finished the year with the same amount of goal contributions that he had last year.
Yeah.
Much more assist skewed, but in double the games played that he did last year. So I really, 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 really hope he can take a step forward again.
Yeah.
And be the guy that we all think he can be and we all can see him being. Oh,
yeah.
And I'm completely missing, and maybe you're about to bring him up. Martin Rodriguez becoming a center mid out of nowhere was
awesome. That was a huge surprise. I was not expecting that at all. It was insane. Just going back to the Ted point, one of the things I put out on Instagram was the question of who were the standout performers and who needs to improve. And Kim Cole just mentioned that he thinks Ted has hit a ceiling, but he hopes he breaks through. And I think that might be the case. And whether it's a case of Ted needs to find that breakthrough at a different club with the way like Griffin Yao did and when he went to Belgium and suddenly became really good. I've not heard much from him recently, but he suddenly had a good season.
He had a great Olympics. His Olympics was amazing. I got to see him play live and in person in Marseille, and it was really it was crazy. He was doing things I never thought I'd see Griffin Yao do when he was playing for DC. So maybe that is the case. Yao has played in 5 matches. He's injured.
Right. Okay.
He's been injured since September 14th.
Oof. Okay.
So he's expected to return in a few weeks. So a couple months injuries there. So, but regardless, I think with Ted, obviously you don't sign a new contract if you think that the next step in his development is out of house.
Exactly.
So I'd like to see him take that next step in house. I think the support staff around him is one that is good enough to get him onto his next step.
Yeah.
I think at a certain point it also comes down to like the player himself and the decisions he has to do as a maturing young man and all that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, let me ask you another question then. Who's been the signing of the season?
Signing of the season. I mean, I already said it. I mean, well, okay. So there are 2. There are only 2 that come to mind for signing of the season, and I think we're both going to be on the same people here. It's either Aaron Herrera or it's Matty Peltola. But there's a dark horse, 2 dark horses.
Okay.
Which is Jared Stroud, who led the team in assists.
Yeah.
But my number 1 dark horse here, Lucas Bartlett. I understand that the back line leaked goals like a sieve.
Yeah.
However, Lucas Bartlett was a throwaway piece in that Chris Durkin trade. It was, sure, Durkin for Stroud, but we'll throw in Bartlett. He's a guy on a veteran minimum deal, which means he makes less than players like Connor Antley, who were much further down the depth chart in their positional group than Bartlett was walking into the season. Now, granted, I think Connor Antley, had he not torn his ACL, could be in this exact same conversation right now.
Yeah.
Given the fact that I think for dollar for pound, pound for dollar, whatever, I think Lucas Bartlett had the best season of all the signings. His ability to command a back line and his ability to win tackles and headers. Like, we all talk about Benteke's aerial dominance. You know who was second in the league?
Lucas Bartlett.
Lucas Bartlett.
Yes.
I think when you have a defense that is placed under so much pressure in Troy Lessane's system, especially with the wingbacks going on their merry sojourneys upfield, you're going to need a lot out of your center backs. And I think of our center back group, Lucas Bartlett was beyond a doubt the best center back we had.
Yeah.
And I think he's earned a starting spot day one next year. Signings dependent, of course.
Yep.
But I think that surprise signing of the season, Lucas Bartlett. Best signing of the season, Aaron Herrera.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's we already know the reasons why.
I mean, he's just been consistent.
Yeah.
Throughout
the best right back in Major League Soccer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
If I had to say a possible negative to him, I think the second half of the season wasn't as good as the first half of the season. Just
I'd say that's probably the case for the entire team, though.
But Jared Stroud was great.
Well, I think Stroud just as much kind of fell off towards the season ended as well.
Yeah.
But mainly for Herrera, we also have to remember he was nursing like a pretty severe foot injury for most of the year. Like he had plantar fasciitis going on. So, who knows what's going on behind the scenes and how injured he really was.
Yeah.
But thugging it out game in, game out for this team was pretty crazy, and that should be rewarded for sure.
Absolutely. And then we obviously had some other players that came in as well, like Garrison Tubbs, which the moments I saw of him, I enjoyed seeing him, and he reminded me of Donny Pines.
He's there. He's thinking. He's got the skills.
Yeah.
He just needs a little more time.
Yep.
Again, our defense was not good this year. Garrison Tubbs probably shouldn't be starting on this team next year.
No.
I really wish this team had a MLS Next Pro team that he could be playing 40 games with, and I could say that about like half of the roster that's under the age of 25. Yeah. Like Christian Fletcher, like Jackson Hopkins, like Mattia Kanamboni, all of those guys. I just wanted them to get quality minutes every single week, and there's just no point in doing that when you can't do that with the way that the organization is set up right now.
Yeah. And then we'll keep on with the highlights before we start looking at the lowlights. What was your game of the season, do you think?
Game of the season? Nashville. Yeah. Nashville away. Going into that game, needing 3 points. A draw was not going to do anything for us. Going down so early, bringing it back to 1, getting absolutely spurned by a bogus fucking call to get just like killed on a free kick, to then come out of the break a little bit flat and concede again. We're down 3-1. We pull one back with Benteke.
Yeah.
Bring on Pirani. Pirani levels it. Pirani wins it, both in extra time. Oh my goodness. What a game. And that kept us alive for what was ultimately us puttering out of this MLS season, but it kept us going, and it kept us alive, and it kept us feeding and feasting on things.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. No, and to be fair, yeah, I would agree with that. The game of the season was definitely the game against Nashville. Goals galore, and it was just entertainment and edge of your seat stuff.
Oh yeah, the whole game.
Yeah, it was just like crazy.
House on fire. Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. And it's one of those games where you already said we had to turn up to this one against a playoff rival. And generally speaking, when we've had those kind of games where we've had to win, there's been, and we could talk about the final game of the season, but generally we just haven't turned up. And this game, we pulled it out of the bag, so it was fantastic. But we are going to move on to the lowlights. And I just want to, before we kind of do, there's been a question in the chat and a thought as well, so I'm just going to bring that up on screen. Pedro Santos return the clock. And how do we feel of Click? Click.
Okay, so here's the deal. Pedro Santos is 36. Click is 35.
Yeah.
So if we're going to say Pedro Santos is old and the legs are falling off, I feel it is only right to say the same things about Click, right?
Yeah.
Like I Click would be a really good piece to add to a team that can contend for a championship. He is not a piece that you build a team around.
No.
And the fact of the matter is we are paying him $2 million. I don't really care what the overall amount is, more so that it is a DP slot that he is occupying, and it cannot be bought down with allocation money,
Yeah.
which means that we cannot bring in a second DP this offseason. We have to either get rid of him or ride him as a DP this year. And I know that people are going to be like, well, Benteke is old too, but Benteke does not have to run the same miles that both Santos and Click have to run in a game in a Troy Lesesne offense and defense and midfield transitional play. Like it's and that was the problem, is that Click would like have games where he'd turn up and he'd be like running all over the place and he'd look like the DP we need him to be. But then there are games where he's just like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna like stand over here by the corner flag and like gesture at the ref as to why I can't take my free kick and get a yellow card for no reason.
Yeah. Just for winding the opponent up.
Right. And like, cool. Again, that would be a really good piece on a team that already has the pieces to compete for a championship. We aren't in that phase of our team construction and roster construction yet. So having a finishing piece when we still need drywall up is like hanging like a painting on the stud and then putting the drywall up around it. You're just going to put that painting inside the wall and nobody's going to see it.
Yeah. I'm looking on stats from Transfer Market, and his contribution this season was 5 actual assists and 2 goals.
Yeah, 12 assists on the MLS app. So, and like, I you know, that's where the secondary assists off of set pieces comes in. Like he kicks it into the box, Bartlett wins a header, Benteke puts it in. Benteke wins a header, Bartlett puts it in. I think he got an assist on the Bartlett goal in that Nashville game because of that exact sequence.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I don't mind the secondary assist, but I think those should almost be like, we should be able to see how many are secondary when we look at assist stats. If you're going to show us full assists, combined secondary assists, put in parentheses, like, for example, Click, you have 5 and then 7 in parentheses to show us that he's had 7 secondary assists.
Yeah. And 7 goal contributions overall, proper goal contributions.
Yeah.
Is that enough from a centre mid DP?
Well, that's the thing. I think it would be enough if he was an 8. I think it would be more than enough if he was a 6. But it's not enough if he's a 10. And I don't know where Click is. I don't know what he does. He doesn't tell us with the way he plays what he is. Yeah. And that's okay if you have players around him who are what they are.
Yeah.
But we do not, or didn't this year.
I think it would be better if he was in the role that Rodriguez was playing in the second half of the season.
Sure, but then we need a 6 to play next to him. And that's what Boris Anal could have been, but he only played for like 10 games this year because that's just how stupid the windows are.
Yeah.
It's not actually in the middle of the season because we take that dumb break for Leagues Cup and there's only so we play 20 games before Leagues Cup and then we only play 10 after. It's dumb.
Yeah. And that's why we need to rejig the Leagues Cup. But I think if we can get Click into that kind of arena where he is a deep line playmaker and he is pinging the ball because he can ping a ball.
Yeah, but the problem is he doesn't want to run to defend either. And when you have a deep lying playmaker, they still need to press.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with Click's game, is that it would be awesome. That would be, you're right, that's the ideal. Yeah. The real is that Click is going to sit back there, get the ball, control the ball, regain, he'll be great to reestablish possession with.
Yeah.
But then what? If we lose possession, he's not going to recover.
Yeah.
And he's not also going to then turn that established possession into a scoring chance because he's sitting too far back. So it's just like he occupies this like no man's land where if he was put into a midfield of like, for example, the LA Galaxy, if you take Ricky Puig out of the LA Galaxy, you put Matthews Click in, that works because he's got Marco Royce and he's got a traditional 6, right?
Yeah.
That works. We don't have that build right now. That's just not how DC United is built.
And that, I want him to work.
Yeah, I want him to work too. We've invested in him, and there's so much resources that go into him, and his option was automatically triggered, so we can't do anything about it unless we sell him. And nobody's gonna come and buy him for that. So yeah,
that was a Casper thing. That one, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should probably talk about that.
Casper Rooney. It was more Rooney because Rooney scouted him while completing his UEFA A license.
Yeah.
So like the player that he did his like little scout report on for the A license class was Matthews Click. And so when he came to DC, he was like, "Oh, this guy's on a free. Can we get him, please?" And they were like, "Sure, go ahead."
Yeah. So, shall we talk about that decision day?
Yeah, we can do that. It sucks. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that was painful because the first half we did so good.
And like Benteke's offside twice, and that sucks because that would have given him the single season goal scoring record outright for league play.
Yeah.
Right now he's only tying it. Also, it's his fault. It's not like it was a controversial offside.
No.
Not nearly as controversial as the goal that did keep us out of the playoffs, or should I say, no goal that kept us out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Which sucks. It really sucks because, in all power to Atlanta, they won the damn game. So it's not like they didn't deserve to be there, right?
No.
Like,
and we completely lost the plot.
Well, I mean, like they won the play-in game. Like they're in the playoffs. They won a playoff game or whatever. Like, good for them.
Yeah.
I don't even care that we lost the plot. I think that, like, it just is a microcosm of the season. It's like we did so well, and there are so many good things that we executed on, and then once the wheels started to come off, they came off hard, and that's what happens when in July you're playing with 15 outfield players total, and your field is, a concrete pad effectively. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, of course, no shit. In October, when we're playing a game that's a must win, we just don't have the legs. And, maybe we take preseason at home this year and we learn that the home field is actually okay and we'll be safe. It'll be fine or whatever. And then we were top 5 or top 10. I'm going to double check this. In the East, like we were a playoff team in the East if we had only played away from home. And then we were a bottom of the league in terms of playing, we were 5th place in MLS or 11th place in MLS, 5th in the East when we played away from home. At home, we were dead last in the East and
second bottom.
Only 4 points off of San Jose at home. Also, interestingly enough, drawing with the Philadelphia Union on points gained at home.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
For Philly because they're strong at home normally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just beat the brakes off of us and like kind of it's not a get right game, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was it was just frustrating. And I just remember watching. I didn't even watch the last sort of 20 minutes, half an hour of the DC game. I was just concentrating on the Orlando game because I was like, well, we've definitely.
That's the only way we were getting in. Yeah.
And then I saw the goal go in, and I was cheering and going a little bit mad over here, and then to see the VAR, and I was like,
"What are they looking at?"
Yeah, that was my first thing. I was like,
"Yeah,
what was wrong with that?"
Yeah, it almost raises a conspiracy theory question where it's like, okay, did they
go down that rabbit hole, couldn't we?
Yeah, were they like, okay, is Atlanta just the better brand to have in the playoffs? Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like, that's obviously not what happened.
No.
It just is a bummer. It's just a real bummer.
Yeah. And you can't just pin it on one particular decision throughout
No,
the
not at
entirety
all.
of the year. We've just not been good enough. And when you have that winless streak,
Yeah,
do you really deserve to be in the playoffs?
no, not at all. I think, part of me wants to say with a negative goal differential, you should not be in the playoffs at all. That should be a prerequisite, is you have to score more
To
goals
qualify
than
for
you
the
let in.
playoffs.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be a great. I mean, it wouldn't be a great thing, but it wouldn't be a fair thing, I should say. But I feel like that's kind of a prerequisite that we just didn't meet this year. It is what it is at a certain point.
Yeah. So that brings me nicely on to Troy. First season as DC United head coach. One of the things I asked out on the social media scape was he the right choice as head coach, and thoughts for next season? And there was quite a number of responses to this. So we had things like, from where the club was, haven't gotten bored with Benny, tired of Chad, disgusted by Lasada, even more tired of Chad, and then totally over Wayne. So bit of a run there. Anyone would have done. I think we played entertaining, attacking football at times in spite of the flimsy talents, a propensity to revert to Route 1. But man, our lack of discipline, accumulating cards, and character giving up leads all over the place. I do wonder why New Jersey chose not to give him the
job. They chose not to give him the job because New Jersey is just a weird thing, right? Yeah. Red Bull is an organization that likes Red Bull people.
Yeah.
If Troy is not a Red Bull person, then Troy will not be with Red Bull.
Yeah.
He's a guy who took New York Red Bull from last place in the league last year to the playoffs in a season that he took over as an interim. That in and of itself should tell you how, there's plenty of reason why he should be here, and I'm very happy he's here. Every interaction that I've had with Troy has been great. I think that he is the perfect person to settle the ship at DC. I am not questioning Troy Lesesne as our coach until the end of next year, and we can talk about that until next year. He should be around. He should be around this upcoming season for the entirety of it, because the way the locker room bonded together over him, the way they fought back, we talk about the character, giving up leads, blah, 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 blah. DC United was the second most points from losing positions this year. They were only behind Inter Miami in terms of points gained from a losing position. So yes, we gave up leads, but we also fought back for them.
Yeah.
So look, it sucks that we didn't make the playoffs this year. It sucks that our defense was terrible. And it sucks that our cap situation was so shit that we almost had to put a $600,000 player, two $600,000 players on DP contracts, because you have Matty Peltola as a DP at $650,000 or $700,000.
Yeah.
And then you have Boris Inau, whose salary came out today at $580,000, who was rumored to be a DP, but Steve Birnbaum's retirement allowed us to get him as a TAM player.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. That's not his fault. That is just not his fault.
No.
He did everything he could with the pieces he had. And the fact that we were even in the conversation for a playoff spot, let alone in the driving seat for a home playoff spot on decision day, should be something to rest your laurels on. But I know that Troy Lesesne is not the person to be resting his laurels this offseason.
No. He will want to be in the position next year to say, come decision day, we've
already got the playoff spot. Yeah, we're fighting for a Champions League spot, or we're fighting for a home playoff game and a bye in the first round. That's where he wants to be.
Yeah, and that would be the ambition that we all want to see.
Of course.
And I think this offseason is going to be a true testament as to where we are going to be at
Yeah,
the end of 2025.
100%.
The only thing I can think of that is going to potentially hold us back is the fact that we've got Click automatically renewed for next season. He's not really been able to have a choice about one of those DP slots.
Yeah, I mean, and that's up to Ali too, right? Like we talk about what Troy wants and what Troy's able to do and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, this is Ali McKay's team,
Yeah.
who is doing a fantastic job as well.
Some signings he's pulled out the bag.
The signings, have been fantastic. He basically said, all right, let me just cook up this crazy boneheaded roster with like literal scraps that are left in the fridge. Like he made a not a Michelin star meal, but a gourmet meal out of kitchen scraps in a fridge.
Yeah.
That's what he did in terms of our cap situation and cap space. I know people are going to maybe find this a little bit spicy in terms of a take. Boris Inau is going to be a huge player next year, and I think that people are judging him too quickly. I've heard this term get thrown around a lot in NFL circles, but we live in a microwave society where we want things instantly made and instantly finished. So when something takes a little bit longer to cook, i.e. Gabriel Pirani, i.e. Ted Kudepietro, who, by the way, was not a first-team player until he was 20, right? He's somebody who played at Loudoun for like 3, 4, 5 years, and people were thinking he wouldn't even make the first team.
Yeah.
Right? You've got these players who are coming up, and they're finding struggles or they're finding adversity in their first couple of games, first couple of months in a new league, in a new team, without a break if they're coming in mid-season, right?
Yeah.
I think Boris Inau is a better player than what we've seen of him. I also think that he's been judged a little bit harshly and unfairly, given the fact that he was really, really good against Columbus. People don't realize how close we were to losing that game, and therefore not even making Nashville a game that we needed to win. Right? That point against Columbus at home might have been like one of the more important points that people don't talk about. And Boris Inau picked Cucho's pocket in the penalty area in the 85th minute or something like that. And like everybody was like, yeah, I'm so happy we died. That was so great. I'm like, yeah, but Boris Inau cleaned up the back line and made sure we didn't lose. And they were like, no, he was all right. Like, Like I'm like, no, give the man his flowers when it's there.
I think he's going to be one of those types of players who will just get the work done. And like yourself, you will see that, but the majority of fans, because he's not going to be getting the assists week in, week out or scoring goals all the time.
He's a Roy Keane.
He's going to go noticed.
He's a Roy Keane. Yeah. Right? He's a guy who's like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you. I'm going to shoot the thing from 50 yards out and put it in the top corner. And occasionally I'll drop this like absolute technical masterclass. And you're like, when did he have that? When could he do that?
Yeah.
I mean, like you look at what he did for Cameroon like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. That free kick.
Like, free kick was insane. And so it's like he's a guy who needs some time to acclimate to DC, to acclimate to MLS. At 500 something thousand, that's fine. That's a player who we would have signed for $700,000 to $800,000 2 years ago.
Yeah,
because it was right. Like Ravel Morrison, like Edison Flores, like Nigel Roberta, like Eric Sorga, like, and I could just keep going down the list.
Eric Sorga.
But we were able to bring in a starting left back in David Schnegg and a rotational to starting 8 to 6 in Boris Inau for the same price as Christian Dahome's contract alone.
Yeah.
So Christian Dahome's contract goes to those two players next year, and the resources they were eating up goes to finding a player who can provide more to this team than Christian Dahome could. So that's how this team works. That's how this team bunches out.
Yeah.
Like it's coming, guys. Just it's annoying to have to be patient, but it'll be there. You got to let it develop.
Yeah. So, speaking of particular players, who underperforms the most for you this season?
Ted Kudepietro. He was a 5-goal scorer last year in a season where we didn't have a single person other than Christian Benteke break 5 goals, I think.
Yeah.
He's a guy that we all know can be better, and he just was not. Other players on that list, I mean, who do you want me to point to? Like, do you want me to be incredibly critical and harsh of, like, I don't know, Pedro Santos? Like, I mean, he's not even going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Most of the players who we would consider being underperforming, Christopher McVeigh, sure, that guy,
Yeah.
sure, but like, maybe I look at this from like too much of a value standpoint in terms of financial than in terms of first team. But the players that you can compare in terms of like numbers to Christopher McVeigh are like that there's a Norwegian center back on TFC and there's a Ukrainian center back on the Columbus Crew. And the Ukrainian center back on the Crew is by miles is a better player than both of the other players I just mentioned.
Yeah.
But both of those players, the TFC center back, the Toronto center back, and the Columbus center back, are both on double at least what McVeigh is on. And so if McVeigh is our 4th, 5th center back next year, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't occupy an international roster slot. If he's not back next year too, cool. I'm not gonna worry because it means that we're going to take his resources and invest them in a product that is actually going to like take care of the job. And we talk about what makes our defense better, right? What can make our defense better? I'll start that convo and then I'll pass it on to you because I'm sure that you have ideas on this as well. We need 2 things. We need better players and they need to be on the field more together at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've got Lucas Bartlett. Put him in. He's fine. He could be there, right?
Yeah.
If he's not there, that means that there's a better player in his position, which is good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so that right there. Next thing, our injuries, especially on our back line, were terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. So we've had 3, 4, 5 different back lines. So now you've got the chemistry just isn't there because you haven't had the time to play together. So you're not moving together. You're not filling the gaps as one person pushes forward. And it just falls apart like it did against Charlotte. After we let in 1 against Charlotte, we were going to let in 2 more. I think everybody watching the game saw that happen. Yeah. But like, and you probably have some different thoughts on this, but I that's what needs to change. We need to have consistency in players, and we need to have just slightly better players as well.
I think what it boiled down to was the injury list. That's what it boiled down to, and that forced everything else to happen. Without those injuries, we wouldn't have had the issues where, as you said, changing backline. We wouldn't have had to forced into a different formation than what we've been designed to do. I think at one point we were doing a 3-back formation when traditionally we've been 4 at the back, and it's that in of itself is where the inconsistency lies, and that's going to be drawing out those winless streaks that we suffered with in 2024. It's a difficult one, and I don't want to put the blame too much on the players in the back line. When you consider have a left back, you consider Dahomey was playing left back.
Yeah, we didn't have a true left back. We didn't have a true left back on the roster until July.
No,
think about that.
Yeah, because Connor Antley isn't really a left back.
He's a right back and a center back. Those are his 2 positions. He played on the left-hand side. Pedro Santos is a midfielder who played wing back at the Columbus Crew and was asked to play in a back 4 with us. And then Dahomey is a out-and-out attacker who played wing back for the Vancouver Whitecaps, who then was played in a left back role, and he got absolutely bitched out. I want to say it was Dallas.
Columbus as well, I think.
Maybe, but I definitely think it was Dallas.
Yeah.
And like that, Jared Stroud, I even think played as a wing back at some point this year.
He actually did, yeah. Because I think Herrera was playing at left back.
Yeah.
And Jared Stroud was playing on the right. And it's like,
right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Without those injuries, that would have been a lot better. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's my take on it. Is yeah, but that's been the same for the last 2-3 seasons. Now we've had huge injuries lists. You look at when
Yeah.
Masada was head coach. That
You
was
just there's even bigger injury
Yeah.
list because we just had more bodies. Like
Yeah.
so, I did some quick numbers crunching because there was a very large debate in some of the circles that I'm in about Click and about more importantly, I saw some stuff about team spending and how they brought the books out for Rooney and blah 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 blah. So I went back and I looked at there's the list of total roster wage bills for the past like 3-4 years, and yeah, there was we 2021 we had like I want to say 2021 through 2023 we were at about $16 million in wages total. Like everybody's wage added together, 16 million. This year we were at 13. And the reason, in my opinion, that it dropped is because, well, we had to pinch pennies today. This year we had to.
Yeah.
Our numbers were down. We had less players on the roster, and we didn't have resources to get new players because they didn't exist. We were so fucked up on the cap, and if a player has to retire mid-season and not get even a send-off game because they need to make way for Boris Inau and David Schnegg so that we have resources that we can actually use on them, like that in and of itself should tell you how constrained we are and why there was a drop in overall wage bill this year compared to last. I think that goes back up over the offseason because we have to make additions. Like, there's no way we don't cut half the dang players who are optionable this year anyways. So there's going to be plenty of space, plenty of stuff. It'll be the keys will fully be in McKay's hands, and I'm very excited to see where this team goes.
Yeah. And speaking of the roster, then, you just mentioned there the fact that half of the squad seems to have just gone. We had today the news that Bono is gone.
That's fine. I've seen two things about Alex Bono when it comes to him leaving. People are sad because I think he's a good goalkeeper, and people are sad because I think he was a cheap goalkeeper who did the job of a starting goalkeeper in Major League Soccer. Okay. Let's talk about the money first because that's clearly what I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Alex Bono made $200,000 this year. That's not a whole lot of money.
Nope.
Okay. He was 28th of 29 in terms of save percentage. Second to last in terms of save percentage. Of the top 10, 5 of them had what I would consider a comparable contract to Alex Bono. That means 5 of the top 10 had between, in my opinion, $200,000 and $350,000 as their salary.
Yeah.
So if it only costs $50,000 to $100,000 to overhaul that position entirely, you cut the fucker. No offense to Alex Bono. He's a great person. He revitalized his career here.
Yeah.
But he did not have a good year. I did this thing. It was a gotcha in one of the group chats that I'm in. And I put up the FB ref percentages of both Alex Bono and Tyler Miller. And you can't tell the difference. You can't.
No.
Is that and it all comes, yes, the defense is there too, blah, 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 whatever. I don't think it matters when it comes to some of the numbers that are up there. Save percentage doesn't equate to, bad defense, so high scoring opportunity shots. Okay, but that doesn't account. It's shots saved. He did not save shots this year. He just didn't. And that's okay. That's a position that can be upgraded. And it's very clear that he was on what was starter money.
Yeah.
Because there are starters all over the league who are doing really well. And they're not making the same as Alex Bono. I think one was even making less, but I don't count him because he's the Cruz goalie who's like a U.S. men's national team youngster. So he just hasn't hit his second contract yet to ask for more money. But I think Schulte is on like 160 or 130,000, something like that.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, like it's cool that Bono. It sucks that Bono is leaving because he is kind of become a fan favorite.
Yeah,
But I feel like this is a really hot take here. If we had signed Tyler Miller instead of Rafa Romo, and then Rafa Romo came in the Alex Bono role and played the exact same game that Alex Bono has played, we would consider Rafa Romo in the same regard that we currently consider Alex Bono, because I don't think any of them had too different of a games. It's just they came after what was an absolutely shocking performance from both a team construction standpoint and just an investment standpoint in Tyler Miller.
Rafa Romo. What you? I mean,
I'm being real. I'm being genuine on that.
Yeah.
Like, Rafa Romo was bad.
awful.
He was awful, but I think that was because he was awful because he was the starting keeper after Bill Hamid.
Yeah.
It's a perception that he's awful. Then Tyler Miller comes in and he's supposed to be better than Rafa Romo, and he really isn't. And so Alex Bono comes in and he's serviceable for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And then now he's below league average in pretty much every statistic, apart from like distribution. And that just comes from
Haven't been taken.
like the amount exactly the route one of just getting it up and playing for the knock. Like, yeah, sure. So
we just had another goalkeeper put in the chat there.
Yeah,
John Kempfin.
Sure. I don't think that, other than his insanity game against New England after we fired Hernan Losada, I don't think that I wouldn't even go there. He got chipped in USL Championship.
He had glass hands.
Yeah, that brings me another point. Alex Bono got chipped a lot this year.
Yeah.
You know, Cucho had him from outside of the box. He almost got chipped in the New England game afterward, but Aaron Herrera blocked the shot from Boreal. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he was kind of like, he got caught in no man's land. And then there were games where he would be like too timid to come out and claim a ball on a cross.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm like,
He's not exactly small either. He's 6'3".
No, he's not. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He should not be getting chipped. He should be. He's getting chipped because he's out of position.
Yeah.
And then he's in no man's land on crosses where he's like, I don't know where the ball is, but I'm going to come out. If you don't know where the ball is, don't come out. Or go out and punch that thing away. I'd rather you punch it away and there's a penalty called on us because you accidentally made contact with the attacker than for you to get stuck in no man's land, miss the ball, and then have a clean header on an empty net.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks that he's not coming back. I get it. People are going to be mad about that. But I think Ali McKay is in the same realization of me that we can do better at his price point. Yeah. He wasn't actually all that cheap. It's just when you compare him to the other goaltender on our roster and Tyler Miller, he was cheap. He was half his salary. Yeah. But you get rid of both of them, and that's $600,000 that you can invest in a goalkeeping room. And you already have Luis Zamudio. You already have Nathan Crockford, right? I don't think Crockford is around next year. I'm not sure, but Zamudio is around next year, I'm pretty sure, and he should be here. And that should be somebody who's under Bono's price range. That's a backup keeper. You know, make him a true number 2.
Yeah.
So
we need 2 legit DPs outside of Benteke if we are being real. Wow, we've only got the option for having 1.
Yeah, unless we get rid of the click somehow.
Yeah.
Unless we could hey, maybe we can call in one more favor from Saudi Arabia. No preseason, please, but have this
guy off our hands.
Have this sassy Polish man, please. He has tattoos and likes Nike dunks.
We just go, Leeds. Do you want him back?
Hey, Plymouth Argyle, we got this really good guy for you. I think your manager would really like him.
They've already taken one of ours.
Who'd they get?
Victor Paulson.
Oh, that's right. I would rather have Victor Paulson. Talk about a DP player. He was a DP for most of the time he was in DC. He was a designated player.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a DP who we knew what he was. He played a game. He was passionate. He cared. I liked him.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Victor Paulson than Matthews Click, and I can't believe me in 2024 is saying that, but it's true.
Well, I enjoyed Victor Paulson in his short stint at the club. It was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So, right, back to where we were. Discussion points. So yeah, we were talking about the roster. So Bono's gone. Knaus, where do you stand on him?
He's out of contract. He is fully
Yes.
gone. He's
Yeah,
gone.
He's a
gone.
free agent.
We can't pick up an option. He's gone. I want him back.
Yeah.
I want him back because I have a heart and I love comeback stories, and I don't know. You just get this like tingly sensation when you think of Russell Knaus because of what he's given to us as a club. I think Goff said it. With Russell Knaus being out of contract, the most tenured player on DC United's roster is Jackson Hopkins. Which is awesome. That's great.
What the heck?
Yeah, it's so funny. But I think at the same time that's good because we're
Fresh start.
we have to freshen up. We have to modernize, and we didn't do that for almost 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
So like that's fine. I just I want him to be here. I want him to be a player here. I want him to win a trophy in our jersey. Like I want all of that for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does that for us though, because if he can get a contract that is comparable to what his contract is now elsewhere, he's going to go. Because I don't think we're dumb enough, and I mean that in the nicest way possible, to Russell Knaus to offer him the same contract again. And maybe we are, and maybe that's what he's worth. I don't know, but I think that he's not someone we want for was it $500,000? I think about maybe $600,000. I think it was $650 on the nose, something like that. Just like the max. Yeah. So he's like the max player you get before you have to start buying him down. If he came back at $400,000, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, like if he came back at 3, that's even better. Put him on a McVay deal, play him as much as we hope McVay plays next year, which is like bit roll, cup competition, rotation.
Yeah.
And then you've got a midfield of Matthew Peltola, Matthews Click, DP10 to be named later, Boris Inau, and Russell Knaus. And I think that's like a really, really, really good roster for the central midfield.
It would absolutely work.
I would really, really like this team to invest in a real, like, stay forward playmaker.
Yeah.
I've got a couple names on my list already.
No, go on.
So recently, I don't know if people are following all the greater MLS news. Portland got slapped up last night, and apparently their MVP candidate and star boy got really vocal about his dislike of the coaching staff and management and overall front office in Portland. And I would love to offer him a contract here in DC.
Yeah.
I would love that. He can come over here. Another person who's disgruntled is DeRussi in Austin. And again, that's a player who has fallen off a little bit, but I can akin that to Luciano Acosta in 2019.
Yeah.
I mean,
unhappy player,
unhappy situation. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so maybe getting him some more cash, putting him into a focal point offense here in DC with hey man, you can like cross this like anywhere in the box, and there's a good chance it goes in.
Yeah.
Because we got like the best aerial player in MLS history, like just up there. You could just put it in. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Benteke's in there somewhere. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
There's another guy. There's another guy. He is currently on loan at Peñarol in Uruguay. He's a Fluminense player. His name is, I believe, Leonardo Rodriguez. Let me double check.
Okay.
I got his name right. He is a guy who is like playing amazing in Uruguay right now, and I'm putting his name.
So whilst you're doing that, Grass on YouTube says Evander to the district. Gouda Boy says 10 and a wide player DP, please.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. So we're not going to get that second DP. We're just
No.
not. Let's
It's a single DP that we're going to get,
yeah.
unless we go down
Uh,
the 4 DP to
hmm.
U22 route.
Leonardo Fernandez.
Oh,
Leo Fernandez. He's got in the Calsura this year for Peñarol. He's 6 matches, 3 goals in 6 matches, no assists. His career for Peñarol in 38 games played, he has 15 goals and 5 assists.
nice.
Um, he
That's
was
a
at
good return, right?
Toluca in 22-23. In 39 games in 22-23, he had 10 goals and 12 assists.
So he's
In
20.
Fluminense, he was not very good in 2023. He only had 1 goal and 1 assist in 20 games played.
Oh,
But that, I mean, it's Fluminense in the Brazilian league. Like I believe that's the team that like Marcelo was on. Like that's a squad that's kind of
yeah.
like, yeah, I'm looking at their overall squad right now, and they've got like a bunch of people who have goals and assists. So it's like it's only so many people are going to be able to get those goals.
Yeah.
Only one person gets a goal and only one person gets an assist. So
Unless it's MLS.
yeah, of course. But I think that he's a guy that if we wanted to break our transfer record this offseason, he's a guy that we could possibly do that for. I would like to see that. Not really realistic, but it's a want for sure.
Yeah.
So the winger.
Yeah.
Not gonna get we're not. All right, guys, bear with me here. So bear with me.
You got on
First
the
off,
Google again.
also on Leo Fernandez, he is
Yeah.
only 25. So
Okay.
he turns
coming up to
26
prime.
in November. He turns 26 in less than a month, but that's so he'll be 26. But I think that's a fine. That's like the right age we're looking for.
Yeah.
I've got a guy, and I've been talking about this guy coming to DC for a while now. Not many people are in on this idea, but I think he's somebody we could get very cheap.
Go on.
Who could use a career boost and reboot, I could say, and be a depth player with a lot of upside, and that is Conrad De La Fuente.
Oh,
He is 23.
Yeah.
He is 23 years old, currently playing in Switzerland. So he went from Barcelona to Marseille to Panathinaikos or Olympiacos, my bad, to Eibar in La Liga.
Spain. Yeah.
To I think it's Lausanne in Switzerland.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's a guy we could probably get for between the same kind of price we paid for like a Gabriel Pirani or a David Schnegg or a Boris Anau. Probably give him a similar contract to either of those 3 players, where he's a TAM level, bordering non-TAM level player. He gets to come back to the United States, get back in the eyes of Pochettino, get back in the fold of the U.S. system, kind of like a Matthew Hopp or a Hoppy or a Bobby Wood who didn't really pan out well, or Zach Steffen in Colorado, where you've got like these players who just come back and they get right back into the fold. Paul Arriola is another example. I think that that's something that maybe would work well for this team. Not because we don't already have those players and like Christian Fletcher, but because we need players like him just right now. I mean, maybe it's not a good move, and and I'm being dumb here, but it's somebody who wouldn't occupy an international roster slot at the very least.
And let's be fair, Fletcher, the player you just mentioned, he's on loan.
Yeah, he is, and he might stay at Forest because they do have a buy option. I'm just like, he's the player who would benefit the most from playing in MLS Next Pro. He is a guy with a whole lot of raw talent. His raw talent is off the charts. Really good player. Right? He's a guy I want to be a DC United player that we think of like Kevin Paredes, where we're like, that's one of ours when he goes up abroad and does really cool things. He just hasn't been able to consistently do that. right? Like he just hasn't. I want him to, and I think we all do, and I think he wants himself to, but whether it be for injury or for whatever, he just hasn't been able to string like 3, 4, 5 games together where he's been like an elite player in any aspect of his game.
Yeah, I think with him, if he was to move to Forest permanently, I don't think I would be too sad about him going.
No, I think that if the price is right,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a guy that people are going to bring up, that if he does leave and then like breaks into the first team with Forest because they get relegated, or like goes from Forest on loan to another European team and plays really well.
Yeah.
He's a guy that people are going to be like, he should be in DC, but DC United doesn't know how to develop talent. They don't know what they have when they have it. La 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 la
Yeah.
la. But like, he's not fit for DC. He has not been consistently in shape and fit,
Yeah.
and he's just not been consistently productive. And that's why Moses Nyman went away. That's why
Yeah.
Griffin Yao went away. That's
Yeah.
why, like, you just walk down the list of homegrowns that have left the team because they haven't been very good, right?
That's it. And I'm going to mention another player now who's been rumored to move away as well quite a lot recently and been subject to multiple transfer bids from Bournemouth, Mattia Akambone.
What a terrible saga that is too. Like, I'm
Have
sorry.
you seen the fees that they've been offering?
What a low ball. Like, that's like Dave Casper, like chucking up offers. It has to be. $1 million. We'll give you one more million if he cracks the first team.
What?
It's just not worth it's not worth it. If you can even get 3 million for him in 2 years, then it wasn't worth it for 1 million this year. It just wasn't.
No.
It's just not. Like, what do they want? Like realistically, Mattia Akambone is under contract with DC.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. He's a good player when fit. Has not been fit. Has not been healthy. Another same deal as Christian Fletcher.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's worth $1 million, because I think next year he's the kind of guy who is in the position to be really good in 2 to 3 to 4 years. His selling window is not right now. His selling window is in 2, 3, 4 years when he is not 18 years old.
Yeah.
He's 18. Center backs. Name an 18-year-old center. Like, name a wonder kid center back who is 18 years old.
You just can't.
You can't, because they take time
They don't
to develop.
exist.
They don't exist.
No.
Delict was the only one I could think of.
But
He was
even
19.
then, he wasn't.
He was 19 when he
taking
took
time.
Ajax to the
Yeah.
But because he went from Ajax to Juve, and at Juve he wasn't all that good.
Yeah.
And he's only really gotten good over the past couple of years at Bayern, and now he's at Manchester United, who's just a talent suck. Like, that's just a black hole. So,
Yeah. The centre backs aren't young,
no.
and there's a reason
No.
for it. They need that
'cause-
experience, and he's another guy who would massively benefit for MLS Next Pro.
Exactly. And for those of you who are wondering, 2026. Everybody's saying 2026. So we got a whole nother year to wait.
Yeah, but on the positive side of that, there is something happening. It's just It feels like it's just so far.
Yeah, and I also want to clear up with that whole pathway to pro, or whatever we're calling it, the pipeline, the academy, the U16 going to full academy model is not something that everybody in the league does.
No.
I need to harp on that. The team, the organization at large has realized that there is a huge wealth of talent in our region. And as a result, it should be honored with a U16 team that is kept entirely in-house.
Yeah.
So that means that they are basically doing everything but sleeping at the first team facilities in Loudoun County, where they're going to school online, doing things, which is something that they did with their high potential players like Nacho Alem, or like players who are like primed for homegrown deals.
Yeah.
But now they're doing it with the squad as a whole. And that's something that over half the teams in Major League Soccer do not do.
Yeah.
So to see them making that step is a good step. It's a great path forward, but we need more.
Yeah. He's a name that's piped up in the chat for goalkeeper. Sergio Romero.
I mean, look, I say this all the time. I don't like the idea of designated player center backs, and I don't like the idea of international goalkeepers. I think that they waste roster slots that can be utilized for better players in more important positions for Major League Soccer teams. So especially when it comes to DC United. In my recollection, there are no more than 3 DP center backs to have lifted MLS Cup while they were DPs. One of them was, I believe, Chiellini last year. I believe he was a DP. Jonathan Mensah did it with the Columbus Crew in 2020. And then I believe there was one person before that whose name I cannot remember. So in the some 12-year history of designated players, only 3 center backs, when you're allowed 3 per team, have won Major League Soccer MLS Cup as a designated player center back. It's the same thing that I say no World Cup winner has won MLS Cup either, which might change this year, but it's true. It hasn't happened. When it comes to international goalkeepers, we've had like 2 in the past like 5 years.
Yeah.
And those were David Ousted and Rafa Romo. So really begs the question of why are they there?
Yeah.
I think if you have a real shot stopper goalkeeper who's really, really good and will win you games, fine. Use the international slot on him. But in the goalkeeper coaching carousel that is Major League Soccer's free agency market, there is a goalkeeper who will come available who can get a green card, or a goalkeeper that comes available who is an American citizen that will allow you to put that international roster slot to good use elsewhere on the field. And now you don't have to either trade for a spot to bring in a good player or try to quickly get a green card. Like, I genuinely feel international goalkeepers don't exactly work when it comes to, like, you have to have that guy. Pedro Gallese was that guy. He hasn't been good this year, but he was that guy. He was worth an international slot. You know, I like the good keepers in MLS that I can think of are like Stephen Fry or Sebastian Fry. I can't remember what his first name is.
Sebastian.
Seattle.
Stephen Fry's a
Sebastian.
comedian.
Yeah. The actor narrated the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Audiobooks. Sebastian Fry in who is in Seattle. Schulte, who is in Columbus. Kalina, who is an international in Charlotte, but also Charlotte are not, in my opinion, MLS Cup contenders.
No.
But he did basically lead MLS in like every goalkeeping stat. So again, worth the international slot.
Yeah.
And I think is the goalkeeper from RSL, is he an international? Maybe.
Zach.
It's like Mac. It's a Mac name.
McMath?
Yes.
He's 350.
He's an American. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Top 5 in save percentage at $350,000. And an American.
Yeah.
So I'm like, read down the list of like these players, the best players in the league at that position. Not a whole lot of them are international players.
Yeah. Your top 4 most expensive goalkeepers. I've got the list up.
It's Andre Blake.
Roman Berkey.
Okay. Hugo Lloris.
No.
Okay, so Hugo Lloris is in like the $350,000 mark range then?
Where is Hugo Lloris? 350 grand.
Yeah, okay. So then above him is Stephen Fry or Sebastian Fry.
Yeah, you got Zach Stefan, who's at 900k. Gallese and Andre Blake both at 800k.
Yep.
Takawakura. I've probably absolutely butchered that name. Vancouver keeper, 672. Steve Clark.
Yes, at Houston. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a wild one, isn't
625.
it?
But to be fair, he's done all right there. Tim
And
Elliott.
worth and Takaoka is I believe a Japanese international.
Yeah. Stephen Fry, 600K. And then
was it
then this suddenly just dropped down. It's not that long until you start getting to the 300Ks.
Right. So if you look at the names who are around 350 to 200,000, which is what Bono is at.
Yeah.
Like
Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, exactly. Although I would argue he hasn't been very good for LA.
Drake Callender, who's
right, but we talk about keepers in this league, and I think that's a worth thing. It's like you only have there are only so many international keepers. One,
yeah,
and two, you have to be inherently if you're gonna. I say this meaning it. If you're gonna waste the slot, you got to waste it in a meaningful way. And I don't think DC United would do that. They haven't in the past, is what I should say. They've fooled me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice, or fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
you don't get fooled again.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I stand on like a player like Romero. I mean, a good keeper, sure, but he would need to be the best.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, he would have to be.
Also, just pointing out, Gallese was bottom 10 or bottom 9 in save percentage this year. Ooh. So at 800,000, he is bottom third in terms of save percentage. And I could look at other stats too, and I'm sure he's a fine keeper elsewhere because he's just a good guy, like as a keeper, but like not a great season. So
you want those keeper players at that level if they're going to be like top 3 most expensive goalkeepers.
Which is why I didn't like Bill Hamid when in 2019, 2020, and 2021, he was the 3rd most expensive keeper in Major League Soccer, and he very clearly was not playing like it.
No.
And wanted more money for his extensions.
Yeah.
So
yeah, towards the end, it just wasn't feasible to keep him.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Not at all.
As much as you want to keep him around for sentimental sake, but sentimentality doesn't win you MLS Cup. So
yeah.
Yes, cool. Next season. Realistic expectations.
I think realistically, I'd want to be in somewhere between the 5th and 9th seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Anything below that is a failure. Anything above that is an overachievement in my mind. Now, that is all dependent on our roster acquisitions. We could go out and sign some crazy cool players this offseason and really get that gang going and clicking and gelling, and they're off to the races come the start of the year. But I think that if we are above 5th, that's great. If we're below 9th, that's bad. If we're in between, that's fair.
Yeah. I think for me, I don't know whether it's a realistic expectation, but my expectation is to go into decision day and not worry.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a fairly reasonable explanation.
Yeah. I think for me that as well and good it was going into decision day and being like, we're in it. We're in the thick of it. We've got something to play for. I'd rather be going into that day, sitting in 6th or 7th position, going, "Yeah, it doesn't matter what we do today."
Yeah,
we've got that playoff
spot. We got to be in because we could be out and not have anything to play for on decision.
There is that, yes.
We have to be in. We have to be in the playoffs and not have to worry about a decision day game knocking us out.
Yeah, the only thing I want. If there's going to be a decision day situation that we're going to be involved with, it's for the other team.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I want us to be involved with.
We get to play spoiler.
Yes,
or we get to play for a game that like would elevate us in the standings, not lower us. Like that would be nice.
Yeah,
play for more points, settle for 7th, kind of idea.
Yeah. Just a couple of comments there. Just minimum has to be playoffs berth. Yeah,
It'll be
absolutely.
6 years next year since our last playoff game.
Yeah.
So
There's only
we need to
one
make
other
playoffs.
team who've gone on a similar streak at the moment, and that's Chicago Fire.
Yeah. Or San Jose.
Oh,
Oh well.
yeah, literally Chicago Fire are the only other team that are on a similar streak as us, 5 years.
Oof. Bad. Not good.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to be with the Chicago Fire.
9 teams get in, guys. We got to figure that out.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we can do it.
Yeah,
I feel positive. I know at the start of the season, it was let's just see how it goes. And that's
Yeah.
how a
This
lot
year
of it
was
felt.
This year was about identity and establishing an identity, and we did that with flying colors, in my opinion.
Next year is getting to that.
Next
playoffs.
year's about winning, and people might not like that was the idea of this year, and like you should go in every year expecting to win and make the playoffs and blah blah blah. But like major roster overhaul is going to cause problems.
Yeah.
And major front office turnover is going to cause growth. And growth does not necessarily mean you get results right away.
Yeah.
And we've got a similar story this offseason where we're going to have I would hope, a lot of roster additions. And yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. And we got that new team coming in next year as well.
Yes, San Diego
Yes.
FC.
Yes.
Terrible branding, terrible name, bad organization.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
No.
Bring back the loyal.
Yes. I really genuinely can't believe how much MLS fucked over Landon Donovan.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time.
No. I want to do one last thing before we wrap up this show. And let's just talk about the awards. The MLS awards and who we think will win each one. So
Christian Benteke, MVP. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. It was always going to be.
Nah, it's going to happen. I'm going to back my guy. Look. Christian Benteke scored a DP air like he scored more goals in this year than like Wayne Rooney ever scored in a season. He is 7 goals away from being the second highest scorer in DC United history. I also think that if you are a player vying for an Major League Soccer most valuable player, your team should play better or have more points per game with you on the field than with you off the field.
Yeah.
And Lionel Messi, Miami has a worse PPG when he plays. So clearly he provides a negative value.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. It's not a good. He doesn't provide a whole lot of high end per points on the field. Sure, he brings in a lot of money, but points on the field, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So you wouldn't put Evander or Cucho Hernandez or Suarez in the mix there?
I think that Suarez doesn't deserve to be there. I don't care. I really don't care.
He's had a great season.
Sure, he's had a great season. But of the 5, I think he's number 5.
Okay.
I think that Evander has I think if we're being honest and real, I think Evander should be the Major League Soccer most valuable player. He led the league in goal contributions with, I believe, 33. Cucho came in second with that. Benteke had 30. But yeah, I think that it should be Evander. I think it'll be Messi, but I want it to be Benteke, so it's going to be Benteke.
I love your optimism on that one. I love it.
It's not optimism; it's just the truth.
We'll see. We'll see when it comes on. The day they get announced.
Yeah.
Then it's the Sigi Schmidt MLS Coach of the Year. You got Chris Armas, Tata Martino, and Wilfred Nancy.
I really think it would be funny if Chris Armas wins Coach of the Year. That's like when Matt Nagy, this is an NFL reference, when Matt Nagy won coach of the year for the Chicago Bears in 2017 and was fired in 2018.
It would be
So
hilarious if that happened. And
realistically, it's Wilfred Nancy. Like he is the best coach in Major League Soccer.
yeah,
He just is. Chris Armas did a very cool thing in Colorado. Colorado played very well this year. I don't think that's him. I think that's, like I think there's a lot of things that went into Colorado playing very well this year that I don't think are necessarily him. But Wilfred Nancy is just straight up the best coach in Major League Soccer.
then I feel like I'm being an announcer here. The Audi Goals Drive Progress Impacts Award.
So that's the off the field stuff, correct?
Yeah, there's no
Or,
other
like,
award
what's
for that. Yeah, so you got
Right?
Andrew Farrell, Darlington Nagbe, and Ellie Sanchez.
Yeah, that's got to be the off the field stuff. I don't know
I thought it
enough
was
about.
the humanitarian award.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
they do good community service. Like in the NFL, it's the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Like it's almost held in the NFL. Like the NFL itself, like brands it as like bigger than the MVP. But we all know MVP is the most important award for the players. But Man of the Year is like a really big honor. In the NFL. So I don't know, Darlington Nagbe. I feel like he's won that before.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
Darlington Nagbe.
Yeah. Then you got MLS Comeback Player of the Year. You got Robin Lord, Maxi Morales, and Lewis Morgan.
So that's going to be Russell Canouse next year.
Yeah.
But this year,
I'd probably say
like
Maxi Morales.
Lewis Morgan played a lot last year, right?
Yeah, I know.
So-
I think didn't he do his ACL last year?
I thought he scored like twice against us.
Ooh.
Doesn't matter. I think it's
Yeah.
Maxi Morales. He tore his ACL for sure last year.
Yeah.
He's an NYCFC club legend who came back, got injured, and then came back from that injury. I think, story wise, it should be Morales.
Yeah. Defender of the Year, you got Jordi Alba, Steven Moreira, and Jackson Reagan.
Should be Aaron Herrera.
Yeah. Don't know why he's not in the mix there.
It's going to be Jordi Alba. I don't think that it should be,
No.
but it will be.
I mean, it's
Like-
probably should be, I think, Reagan.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm with you there.
I would say.
I just don't. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of like just insert. Oh, we have an award. Okay, what has a Miami player done? All right, put him in.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're using it as like a way to like provide legitimacy to their awards.
Yeah. Then you got goalkeeper. You got Kalina from Charlotte, Hugo
It's gonna be
Lloris,
him.
and Patrick Schulte.
Again, it's a why is Hugo Lloris there, because you have two of like the best keepers in the league, and
Yep.
then Hugo Lloris. Like I he's just there because he's Hugo Lloris. Like,
Yep.
it's annoying.
Yeah.
I think it should be Kalina. He led the league in clean sheets. He led the league in save percentage. He led the league in saves. Like, that's the guy. Schulte, and I don't count clean sheets as a goalkeeper stat. It's the first one that came into my head. Schulte's a good player. He's a really good player. Columbus
Yeah.
is a good team, but it's Kalina. Charlotte would not be as high up on the table as they are right now if you swapped keepers.
Yeah.
That's a great way to analyze it. If you swapped them, put Schulte on Charlotte, Kalina on Columbus, Charlotte would not be in the same spot on the table that they are right now. They would be lower.
Yeah, I really don't understand why Lloris is there. I would probably go Kalina as well. Yeah. Their whole defense has been great this season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't score on it.
That's no. Let's put it this way: why isn't there a Charlotte defender in there?
Yeah, well, because they're a unit. I don't know. Well, also because you have to make space for the Inter Miami player.
Yeah, it's true. Then you've got newcomer of the year. You've got Luca Oriano from Cincinnati, Gabriel Peck from LA Galaxy, and then Luis Suarez from Inter Miami.
I hope it's Peck. I
Yeah.
think Peck has been playing very well this year. He's a player who should win this award. But congratulations, Luis Suarez. You've got an award because you were third in the league in goals. And ta-da! You're a 40-year-old who's going to need a wheelchair by the time they're 60. Like, congrats, bro.
Yeah. I always feel like
Really
newcomer
showed
of the year should be a young player.
Well, they have Young Player of the Year for that.
They do,
Like,
which
that's
is
the
what we're going to
reason.
come up to now,
Yeah.
which is the final one. Diego Gomez from Inter Miami.
He had a good year, to be fair.
That's
legit. He earned that one. That's a
Yeah.
legit. Yeah.
Diego Luna from RSL.
Good player. Great player.
And then Christian Oliveira from LAFC. To me,
Look,
I
the
put
popular-
Gomez on this one.
Yeah, I mean I think that Diego Luna is one of the like underrated like star stories of Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
So like he is the guy that we want Major League Soccer to like poster board because he's a guy who started with El Paso in the USL table, USL pyramid, joined RSL as an 18-year-old and has absolutely flourished and probably should be playing more for the national team. I believe he was a huge snub at the Olympics this summer, and RSL was planning on him to go to the Olympics, but I think a good consolation prize for not medaling at the Olympics this summer would be the Young Player of the Year award, so I hope that it goes to him.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. That's cool. And then you got the goal of the year and the save of the year, but that's a long list. I don't know. I can't be
It's a
bothered to go
long
through that.
list, and we conceded 3 of the goals of the year, and were nominated for 0 of them. So
Nice. The only one I want to
Which is-
say, goal of the year.
I was
Durkin.
watching them. Look, Chris Durkin does that once a year.
Yep.
And he did when he was here, and he will continue to do that for the rest of his career.
Yep.
What makes me really mad is that looking at some of those goals and not seeing either of Pedro Santos's goals
Yeah.
baffles me. I think he had 3 this year, or maybe 4, but the free kick against New York should be on that list if we're going by what's already in there. And the volley against the Revolution should be on that list.
Yeah. 100%.
Because I don't see how those goals are not included, but like your average outside of the box shot is.
Yeah.
Like 10 men DC United scoring a free kick like that. We hadn't scored a direct free kick in, I want to say, like 2 years. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Just feel like he got a little robbed there.
Yeah. I think that volley against the Revs, because the way he ran on it and the technique.
The curve that ball had to go near post like that was insane.
Yeah. So, yeah, Santos got done over there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's pretty much wraps things up. So,
Yeah, it was a great chat.
yeah,
Another long podcast because I'm here. Sorry about that.
Hey, I've loved it. I've absolutely.
There's no
loved
game you guys can come to. I mean, if I go to the Spirit, playoff game because the Spirit are playing at home in the playoffs in
Nice.
a few weeks, come up to me if you've gotten to this point and you're going to say me the secret code word. And the secret code word is Audi because it's the Audi MLS Cup playoffs. So come say the secret word. The secret word is Audi. The secret word is Audi. All right.
There you go. And did they get anything for telling you the secret word?
They get my respect
Okay.
and my admiration. So
Did they get a cuddle?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how sweaty they are, but yeah. It depends on how sweaty I am. I guess that's an even better
Yeah.
thing to say. Like, it could be cold though, so you never know. But yeah. Come say the secret word. The secret word again is Audi.
No, Good Boy doesn't live in the DMV.
That sucks.
Well, air cuddle, virtual.
There it
cuddle.
is.
There you go.
There it is.
There you go. Right. Yeah, 2025 is going to be a great year.
Yeah,
It's
amazing year.
we're gonna have a lot of fun, and it's gonna be great.
I think, look, last year gave us a spark of hope because we made transitions. This year is the year you should be filled with hope because, yes, we had one of the highest roster turnovers last year already. This year is going to be the year where the money comes off the books.
Yeah.
The large amounts of money come off the books this year, this offseason. Apparently, judging by the Bono post and some other things that I'm seeing, all the players know whose options have been picked up and whose options have not.
Yeah.
So we should learn about that over the coming days. It's really nice to have roster decisions already made.
Yeah.
And to be really, oh yeah, Luke Jenkinson left, the director of senior performance, and we've already hired his replacement. What? We didn't do that. We never do that.
What?
We did a thing where we were like, okay, this guy's leaving. Let's get his replacement in the door right away, and let's replace him with somebody who you could argue has had a better resume. Like, woohoo!
Nice.
Oh man, that's great.
Start
So
as we mean to go on. Cool. I'm just gonna say a couple of things. If you want to look at this. Look at this.
ooh,
Adidas. Adidas, mate.
what branded? It's branded, guys.
It's branded. It is proper branded. This is the original mock-up that I did. The one that you can get on the website actually has the DC UK podcast name underneath it.
Awesome.
So you can get that over there on dcunitedkingdom.com. Go ahead over there. They are in British sterling, £65.
That seems fair for an Adidas hoodie. I can't lie.
Yeah. It's nice to have. And Russell Canals has one.
Oh, there you go. I think if you're gonna support the podcast, that's who you should be looking to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's probably listening. He might tell me the password. Who knows?
You never know. He might.
You never know.
Yeah. Cool. And once again, if the good folks out there want to find you, where can they find you?
Well, okay. So check me out or check out the supporters group that I'm a part of, Buzzard Point Social. We are a Spirit, Bobcats, DC United, and Loudon adjacent supporters group in the DMV area. So come check us out. Come to a tailgate for the Spirit stuff. We'll be wherever the Squadron are at, which I believe is a bar called Solace. For the DC United stuff, we'll be on Water Street. So come say hi, come say what's up. And you could find me, I guess, you could find me on Twitter for as long as I'll stick around there at Broso Enjoyer. So you can find me there, I guess, if you wanted to follow me, but don't feel inclined to. I'm just happy to be here.
Fair. Right. Well, once again, Angus, thank you very much for coming on.
Course.
It's been an absolute blast. And thank you for all for tuning in and listening. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I've already seen someone subscribe to the YouTube, which is great.
Oh, there we go. Numbers going up.
And make sure you give this stream a good old like. And if you are listening to the podcast after the fact, please leave a little rating and review. But until next time, Vamos United.
See you guys.